Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera bagi kita semuanya. Kenalkan, nama saya Remandhia Mulcki. Saya adalah dosen Desain Komunikasi Visual di Presiden Universitas. Izinkanlah pada kali ini saya menjelaskan tentang mata kuliah yang sudah saya ampu dari tahun 2019 sampai 2024, yaitu Basic Drawing. Di mana saya akan menjelaskan menggunakan metode DIA, yaitu Delivery, Interaction, and Assessment. Mata kuliah ini diberikan pada mahasiswa tingkat 1 dan semester 1, di mana for your information, kita itu tidak ada seleksi gambar ataupun portofolio, sehingga skill gambar mahasiswa itu beragam dari yang tidak terlalu mahir sampai yang sangat mahir. Sehingga mata kuliah Basic Drawing ini menjadi sangat penting untuk meningkatkan skill mahasiswa secepat mungkin. Saya dipercaya untuk memegang mata kuliah ini karena sarjana saya kebetulan mengambil sarjana seni rupa di jurusan seni lukis, sehingga saya bisa memahami dan juga memiliki skill gambar baik menggunakan pensil ataupun menggunakan kuas dengan cukup baik. Pada mata kuliah Basic Drawing ini, bobotnya adalah 3 SKS praktek, di mana bahasa pengantar yang digunakan adalah bahasa Inggris, sehingga untuk penjelasan mata kuliah tujuannya dan juga RPS-nya, izinkanlah saya menggunakan sedikit bahasa Inggris. So the objective of this course is to enable students to learn drawing medium such as pencil, Chinese ink, drawing pen to achieve realistic style drawing on paper. Dan capaian pembelajaran mata kuliah pada Basic Drawing ini adalah CPNK yang pertama, understand the knowledge and method in PCD in Basic Drawing History, Medium, Technique, and Principle. CPNK yang kedua, master the practical skills to apply pencil technique of hatching, shading, value, grid to achieve realistic drawing of still life and landscape. CPNK 3, master the practical skills to apply the brush and Chinese ink, wet on wet, and wet on dry technique. CPNK 4, master the practical skills to apply the concept of 1 and 2 point perspective to draw still life and landscape. CPNK 5, master the practical skills to create a master copy drawing of a famous artist's work using a drawing pen. CPNK 6, evaluate the basic drawing process, knowledge, idea, and thinking with artwork presentation. Mata kuliah ini dimulai dengan mapping karya mahasiswa yang pernah dibuat sebelumnya. Lalu dari situ kita bisa melihat seberapa besar mahasiswa yang mahir dalam menggambar, seberapa besar juga yang kurang, dan kita bisa berikan perhatian khusus bagi mahasiswa yang memang butuh perhatian lebih, di mana ini menjadi possible karena satu kelas kita hanya ada 25 mahasiswa. Bentuk perkuliahan yang dilakukan adalah 100% offline, dibantu dengan LMS di halaman ikampus.presiden.ac.id, di mana mahasiswa bisa mengunduh materi, e-book, membaca instruksi setiap tugasnya, lalu bisa mengupload tugas-tugasnya juga. Perkuliahan dimulai dengan materi singkat, lalu biasa kita membahas tugas sebelumnya, lalu ada drawing demo untuk setiap subject matter yang ada, dari mulai tanaman, pohon, still life, dan kawan-kawan. Dan terakhir, dan yang paling spesial adalah student worksheet. Ya. Jadi student worksheet ini adalah inovasi yang saya lakukan dari tahun 2023 sampai 2024, di mana mengimplementasikan konsep gamification dan dua teori game, yaitu flow theory dan Nishikado motion, untuk membuat perkuliahan menjadi lebih fun dan memorable. Jadi setiap minggu ya mahasiswa harus menyelesaikan student worksheet ini di dalam kelas. Ya, dan nantinya akan diberikan skor 1, 2, dan 3. Dan nantinya ini akan menjadi bonus poin bagi tugas besar mingguannya. Lalu di student worksheet juga ada materi mingguan ya, yang nantinya akan dites secara lisan dan acak, dan mereka harus bisa menjawabnya menggunakan bahasa Inggris. Lalu mahasiswa yang mendapatkan nilai 3 poin akan diberikan reward seperti coklat atau permen. Dan gestur kecil seperti ini buat mereka menjadi lebih excited ya, dan memorable juga. Dan saya bisa melihat dari ekspresi yang mereka tunjukkan ketika mendapatkan permen tersebut. Lalu dalam student worksheet mereka akan belajar step by step dari level yang paling mudah sampai level yang paling sulit. Dan di sini juga ada semacam survei kecil skala Likert menggunakan emoji. Ini juga untuk memvalidasi emosi mereka. Dan ini cukup efektif untuk Gen Z. Memetakan kesulitan setiap tugas juga penting. Karena apa? Karena berdasarkan teori flow teori, jadi tingkat kesulitan itu harus setara dengan tingkat skill mereka. Kalau terlalu sulit akan anxiety, terlalu mudah akan boring. Sehingga survei kecil ini nantinya akan dipakai untuk menyempurnakan worksheet selanjutnya. Dan sampai akhir semester, mahasiswa akan mengerjakan 10 student worksheet dan juga 10 tugas besar. Khusus untuk tugas besar atau tugas mingguan seperti ini, nanti mahasiswa akan mendapatkan matriks penilaian yang juga akan ditempel di belakang. Dan matriks penilaian ini juga dosen akan memberikan notes atau pesan, feedback yang nantinya mahasiswa bisa baca dan pahami untuk mengimprove tugas selanjutnya. Dalam interaksi di kelas, selain lecture biasa, kita juga biasanya memiliki asisten dosen yang tentunya akan sama-sama berkeliling untuk memonitor student worksheet mahasiswa, ya, dan akan memberikan bantuan atau drawing tutorial di tempat ketika mahasiswa membutuhkannya. Lalu biasanya 1 minggu sebelum mid atau final exam, kami memanggil mahasiswa satu persatu ke depan, di mana kita akan bercerita tentang drawing journey-nya, di mana mahasiswa akan ditunjukkan growth-nya dari tugas pertama sampai tugas terakhir, ditanya apa kesulitannya, kalau nilainya bagus kita tanya apa rahasianya, ya. Kita berikan pujian dan juga motivasi di sana. Lalu untuk tahapan asesmen, kami melakukan asesmen berdasarkan 3 hal, yaitu kognitif atau pengetahuan, biasanya melalui presentasi dan Q&A session. Lalu aspek afektif atau emosi sikap, biasanya melalui observasi, baik itu presentasi kehadiran, ketepatan pengumpulan tugas, atau antusiasme dalam presentasi. Dan psikomotor, yaitu skill gambar dalam tugas mingguan, kalau dalam presentasi biasanya tentang body language untuk menunjukkan kepercayaan diri mereka. Baik mid-exam atau final exam, mahasiswa akan melakukan presentasi, di mana mereka melakukan self-analysis karya yang pernah dibuat sebelumnya. Ya. Jadi mereka akan menganalisis misalkan proporsi karyanya, balance, warna, hatching, shading, unity, and also harmony untuk mengetahui sejauh mana pengetahuan yang dimilikinya. Ya. Dan di akhir presentasi biasanya akan dilakukan Q&A session dan materinya juga berasal dari student worksheet mingguan yang pernah mereka pelajari. Dan keseluruhan bagian ini merupakan asesmen di bidang kognitif, ya. Dan dalam presentasi aspek afektif dan psikomotor juga akan dilihat dari observasi kita di kelas. Ya. Lalu poin-poin penilaiannya antara lain ketika presentasi misalkan ada unsur clarity, jadi seberapa jelas mereka mendeliver materi, lalu kemampuan bahasa Inggrisnya, lalu Q&A session-nya, antusiasiknya juga ada, dan yang terakhir creativity, yaitu gabungan style dan delivery yang mereka gunakan. Lalu untuk grading, ya, kami cukup transparan, kami lampirkan biasanya Google Sheet di setiap LMS, jadi mahasiswa siapapun itu bisa membukanya, bisa melihat skor dirinya dan juga temannya, dan biasa kita highlight juga mana nilai yang terbaik. Dan biasa nilai yang terbaik kita juga berikan sedikit reward, ya, seperti pensil atau penghapus kecil, tapi itu implementasi dari gamification yang saya terapkan. Oke, mari kita melihat proses pengajaran di kelas yang dilakukan secara real time. Okay, that is your first previous assignment as a first year student in basic drawing class, which is the plan. So of course it's not easy because not everyone have a good basic drawing skill, but of course in this class, our goal is to improve your drawing skills. Okay, so I'm gonna start with some opening materials, yeah. So remember, our outcome is all of you with pencil, you need to be able to master the techniques such as hatching, shading, value, grid to achieve realistic drawing of still life and also landscape. So for the landscape, of course, we will start with the plan and also tree and so on and so on. Okay, and then for this week, which is the 4th week, we will continue with the 3 assignment, yeah, and also using pencil again. And in here, of course, we will start with some basic material, which is tree and landscape. And we will continue with the observation skills. What is actually observation skills and why it's important for you as a future designer and artist. And the last one, we will continue with the 3rd student worksheet. So as you can see in here, you are in here, the first plan, the pre-specific. And today we are in here, the 3-1. So it will be a collection of the assignment that will improve your skill till the end of the semester. And remember, our goal is to level up. Our goal is to improve our drawing skill, so it will be easier for us in the next class, which is illustration, applied illustration, and so on and so on. Okay? So from the previous week, as you can see, all of you have finished the planned assignment. And this is probably some conclusion that you got so far. First, all of you understood the basic structure. Oh, the plan have some basic structure, and every plan have a different structure. Yeah. And also, some plan, especially the leaf, have a different anatomy. Some leaf probably have like symmetrical anatomy, and the next one probably asymmetrical. Okay. And then you also start with some sketching, yeah, to create a good composition and put the basic shape, yeah, either rectangle, oval, and so on. And also, you finally find out how to create a good rana, which is the comparison of the proportion between the drawing object and also the canvas or the paper, and also making balance in composition, not too big, not too small. And also, you can learn how to create a good line and also put the different thickness of the line, yeah. And also, you choose the basic hatching from the normal hatching, yeah, and then cross hatching and also the scumbling. And then at the end, you need to be able to achieve the realism skills. Of course, for the first week, it won't be easy, yeah. That's why you still have like several weeks to improve your skill. And of course, you will need to also exercise not only in the class, but also outside the class. Okay, so since we start from the plant, which is a small object that you can touch, that you can see every day. And then we will move to the big one, which is the tree. And of course, tree is more complex than the plant. Tree is also super duper big. There are a lot of different variation. Okay, so in here, a tree is also a very common subject matter for a young artist. Usually, we will go outside and then we will try to draw the tree together and we will try to observe the tree. And based on the observation, we can conclude the tree also have some structure. Remember the biology class during high school? Yeah, this is the time you are not only remembering the name, but also try to understand the shape, the structure, the anatomy, and then the relation between all of them. One of the most important basic skill as a future artist and designer, you will need to have a good observation skills. Yeah. So basically, you are using all of your 5 senses, not only the eyes. Yeah. Use your ear to hear, touch, smell, and so on and so on. Because using all of your 5 senses, you are maximizing your human potential to observe information directly. And then you can observe from the far to know the holistic shape, the overall shape. And then closer together, touch it, feel it for detailed information that able to trigger your empathic and intuitive ability. But of course, everyone have a different experience while observing something. So, simple question. Why we need to start with observation? Anyone? Okay, Nando?
Okay, why we need to start with the observation? Because we see things in patterns for humans, and as a designer, it's very crucial to utilize that information in our designs. If we see a tree, we see that the tree has a trunk, has branches, and has the leaves. So if you want to recreate a tree, we have to follow the patterns of what we draw to have the trunks, have the branches, and have the leaves.
Perfect. Okay, a really nice answer, yeah, Nando. Of course, pattern recognition is one of the basic human learning process. We recognize the pattern. So there is a repeated shape, repeated pattern, and we can conclude, that is a tree. So this is some answer. The biggest purpose for the observation is at the end. We need to understand the anatomy of the tree, the trunk, the leaf, the root. Yeah. After we understand the anatomy, as a future artist and designer, we need to be able to find the beauty that mesmerize us because it's trigger our motivation to learn more. Why this leaf it's so beautiful? Why the trunk it's so majestic? Why the root is so big and it's show a power? After that, yeah, because we will need to draw it, and tree is very complex. We need to simplify into basic shapes. So remember, start from the easiest thing, simplify into the easiest thing, so we can put the detail into complex things. Okay, so this is some simple step-by-step of how we use the basic shape, like oval like this, yeah. And then we add some details, yeah. Basically in here, after that we can add the detail, which is usually the edges for the leaf, yeah. And then after that we can put some simple hatching, and then add a thicker hatching for putting the dark shadow and also the volume. It will take a lot of time. Sometimes you are also confused where I should put the hatching, the dark one. But remember the muscle memory. Suddenly your hand will move by itself, yeah, as long as you continue try to put some hatching, or maybe adding the cross hatching, or maybe scumbling. And remember, the easiest one to draw the tree for the hatching is make the hatching look like the shape of the leaf itself. So create like endless repetition of small leaf crossing each other, yeah, and then it will create a good dark and also gradation, probably something like that. You can see in here, yeah, this is actually like the collection of the simple hatching crossover each other, something like that. We move to the next one. Now this is also simple step by step, and this is the first method. So because the tree is so big, we need to start with the structure, yeah. So remember, the tree grow from the big trunk, and then suddenly there is a branch, yeah. So you will need to draw following how the tree grows. That's why it starts from the trunk and then the branch one by one, and after the branch there will be a lot of leaf, and then the leaf will be thousand, probably thousand, and then after that it will create a volume, yeah. That's why you will need to put some volume, and then there's supposed to be a hole, yeah. So it's not big blocky shape. There's supposed to be a hole, so when the light touch that hole there will be some a light ray, yeah, which is beautiful. This is the example of, yeah, others artists did the method to draw the tree. As you can see, it's very detailed. But remember, at the end, because our goal is to achieve realism, actually, everyone needs to find your own way to draw. Yeah, that's why at the beginning, if you are comfortable with the scumbling, yeah, you can use scumbling to mimic the shape of the leaf one by one, and you do it like endlessly. If you prefer like cross hatching, yeah, you can actually make the hatching, of course, into the shape of the leaf, and then create cross hatching till the end. Or if you also prefer pointillist, but of course I'm not recommend you to use pointillism if you're using pencil because it takes a lot of energy, so just use the normal hatching. Everyone will always start from the basic shape, basic anatomy. Yeah, that's why we will always start probably with the branch and then add one by one detail, and then we can draw the leaf one by one. So remember, the basic drawing class is within the first semester. At the end, there will be another class, yeah? And this is your purpose of learning. So there will be an illustration class, and you will need to learn how to create decorative art, yeah? And then you can also need to master several style, yeah? From vector, flat design, and you can also implement that into some kind of merchandising. In the illustration, yeah, there will be a book cover illustration. So if you prefer a realism, you can implement it in a form of digital painting using Adobe Photoshop, or you can use like flat design using Adobe Illustrator. At the end, it's up to you. But we need to start from mastering the basic, the realism. So you can learn about the detail, you can learn about the proportion anatomy, yeah? Because at the end, you will need to be able to recreate the tree shape without looking at the reference, because you already know the shape, the proportion, and also the anatomy of the tree. And then we have like a concentration of animation game for animation such as anime landscape. It's very common to put a detailed tree with a stylish stick, a vibrant one. Every week, yeah, you will need to complete the student worksheet within the day. So this is to exercise you before the big weekly assignment. As you can see in here, I want you to follow all of the instruction as always. This is your third worksheet. And then you will need to also submit in the class. And then each worksheet, as always, will give you +1, 2, or 3 extra score. So make sure that you do it as good as possible. Yeah. And if you're not submitting the worksheet, means no extra score. This is the worksheet. I want you to also start from the understanding what is actually drawing composition. Because when we draw the tree, we need to also think about the composition, how to make our composition good enough. And then at the end, you will need to also master how to create a good proportion and also balance itself. And you will need to remember what is actually a balance, because after you remember the term, you are able to understand the whole term, and you can explain using your own words or language. Okay, this is the step-by-step, So I want you to start with this one, make some structure, and then follow the second one, big shape, and after that, just follow the detailing, and after that, after detailing of the branch and so on, you can start with some hatching and so on and so on. So I will show you the drawing demo later. This is just to show you how to follow the step-by-step, from the drawing worksheet. And then this is also some exercise for the hatching, which is in here. You need to use the scumbling, or circulism. And of course, when you do this, make sure that you put the light source. So for example, if the light source comes from the right, and then you put the cross hatching, of course, in the left part supposed to be darker, and you will need to make it super duper dark. And then at the end, this is the hardest one, because you will need to draw as realistic as possible, like this. Okay, is there any question for the worksheet? Okay, Bill?
But sir, does it have to be cross-hatching or it can be realistic?
Okay, the goal is to achieve realism, and you can achieve realism by understanding. In this one, for example, in the trunk, you will need to use scumbling, and then for the leaf, you can use cross-hatching. Yeah, so you will need to combine both method. For this week assignment, as you can see, if you got extra score 1 from the student worksheet, you can only choose this kind of reference. For the hatching, make sure that the goal is realistic, but at the end, the impact that you can give to the viewer is the most important one. Because at the end, we are not copying the tree into the drawing. Yeah, we are making the drawing. We are making the artwork or creation that able to trigger some feeling or emotion. Yeah, because when we draw something, we also express our emotion, something like that. Of course, the detail of the assignment can be found at the campus. Yeah, so in here I have put everything. You just need to go to the 3 pencil section, and you can open the assignment 3 pencil, and in here there will be a lot of things. Yeah, this is also the matrix for the grading. The first thing that you will need to pay attention is the proportion. Remember, for the tree, yeah, usually in the bottom one it will be bigger and then incrementally smaller, and then the shape of the leaf supposed to be leaf. And then the balance and runner, you will need to put the sketching first. Make sure that your drawing is not too big and also not too small. I will move to the drawing demo. After the drawing demo, it will be the worksheet. Yeah. Okay, let's see the drawing demo. And then, of course, me and Rifa will move around to observe and to directly guide you and help you if you found a problem.
Kak, I need your help.
What is it?
Is this already good enough for the scumbling hatching?
So for this one, you can like make this transition from the darkest one to the lightest part more like smoother transition with this coupling. So you can use the
Sir, I need your help.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, so this is for the scumbling one, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, I think it's too thick, yeah? So, of course, the lasers come from the right one, and then in this part you will need to make it like thicker, but in this one you can make it lighter by eliminating like the thicker one because it's supposed to be soft. Okay, so if you have finished the student worksheet, you may come forward. Okay, this is nice, nice, nice. Okay, okay. Good luck for your assignment, Zahra. Okay, so everyone, that's it for today. I hope that you can learn from today's worksheet. Yeah, because it will be very important. Yeah, as an exercise before making the big assignment, the weekly assignment, which is the 3. Yeah, and then you can also take the previous week assignment in my cubicle, the plan. Yeah, and then good luck with the 3 assignment. It won't be easy, but I hope that you can go for it. Yeah, thank you so much everyone for coming to the morning class of basic drawing, and see you next week. Thank you. Demikianlah penjelasan DIA atau Delivery Interaction and Assessment untuk mata kuliah Basic Drawing di jurusan Desain Komunikasi Visual Presiden University. Terima kasih atas perhatiannya. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.